If you like what you hear and you haven't already, head over to iTunes and click subscribe. That way you get all the new episodes right when they come out. Also, while you're there, why not give a rating or write a review? The more reviews, the better the show gets, and then maybe we'll be able to quit our jobs one day. Last but not least, check us out on Twitter, @RealHighEDU, for pics of all the stuff we talk about on here and any cool shit we can find. It's a great big goddamn world out there. Dig it. Education can be described as all activities by which a human group transmits to its descendants a body of knowledge, skills, and a moral code which enable the group to subsist. In this sense, education refers to the transmission to a subsequent generation of those skills needed to perform tasks of daily living, and further passing on the social, cultural, spiritual, and philosophical values of the particular community. Brought to you by two dudes and the internet. This is higher education. Get ready to be educated high. Don't say anything after I say don't say anything. All right. Welcome to Higher Education, What I Learned This Week. I'm your host, Josh, alongside my partner in crime,
also Josh.
And we're excited to be here.
Tired as shit.
We're always tired, man. It's too much work doing what we're doing.
Being a grown-up sucks.
Living life and paying bills and being responsible, it's stressful, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that sucks too. I was more just talking about the fact that I get tired at 10 o'clock and pass out at 11 now.
Well, I think that's the marijuana, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually not high right now.
I know, I just mean it every other day at 10 o'clock. But that's another story. Or is it? Welcome to Higher Education Midnight Edition, where the science goes wild.
This is more like 1 a.m. edition.
12:40. But it's okay.
On the midnight.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not really okay, but it is what it is. And that's what it is. So what can you do about it? Nothing. So Josh, my friend, my compatriot, my compadre, mi amigo.
Your amigo?
Well, actually, it was my
yeah, but I'm not. Wouldn't make sense if I said that.
Yeah. How was your week?
Not bad. Just didn't really celebrate. My son just turned 2 on the 29th.
Why don't you celebrate your birthday?
Because he's 2.
Or is it for another reason?
No, it's mostly just because he's 2. What the hell am I going to do to celebrate? He doesn't even know what a birthday is.
I feel like he knows what a birthday is.
And we give him shit all the time, so it's not like a present's really anything to him.
It doesn't have anything to do with the witnesses?
The witnesses?
Of Jehovah?
Like people watching me?
The witnesses of Jehovah? No?
No, not really.
All right, we won't go there.
Not for me, at least.
All right, we won't go there. It's okay.
Because I am not a Jehovah's Witness.
There you go. I don't know why I brought that up then.
Exactly.
Pointless. Dang it, strikes again. Speaking of strikes again, I don't have anything to fill in there.
I was just going to say, I'm interested to hear. Speaking of strikes again.
I have no filler or lead-in for that phrase. But it sounded good for a second there. You were excited. Right?
I was. You drew me in only to let me down.
Well, that's what I do my whole life. So
that's very true.
I'm 100% right now.
No, but Orion.
What'd you do yesterday, actually? Or no, what'd you do? What'd you do today?
Well, first, let me say, having a 2-year-old now, the terrible twos. It's only been 24 hours, but they have set in. This kid is a freaking handful.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I
don't have one.
He really does. Yet. Like I'm positive my son.
I have one. He's just not that old yet.
Yeah,
I didn't mean for that to sound like
I'm positive my 2-year-old thinks that he's 15.
Well, yeah.
He has all the traits of a teenager. Very, very headstrong. Except he can't talk quite as clearly. He's kind of just like a drunk teenager. That's really
or
2-year-olds are drunk teenagers,
and he can't get anyone pregnant. So that's like the real bonus.
I mean, that's the plus of it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Hey, I was thinking about it the other day. I think the reason why your mic was sliding out is because your mount thing is upside down.
You know, it could be.
So if you turned it upside down, it would work. But,
I like doing shit my own way.
Yeah, I'm putting it upside down.
I don't let the rules confine me.
Oh shit, rebel without a cause. We see the rules and then we break the rules. And then we say fuck the rules. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, I'm going to plead the fifth because admitting to seeing the rules and breaking them is against the law.
Is it though?
Well, the rules. I guess it depends on the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Rules.
The only rule that matters is the golden rule.
Which is always pee on your girlfriend?
No, that's the golden shower rule.
Oh, damn it.
No,
Okay.
golden rule. Treat others the way that you would like to be treated.
Or rules.
Which I'm going to say, not necessarily take that literally, because, I mean, I would love it if I was being filleted by other people, but that's not how I'm going to treat them.
I'm not going to fillet you at all.
I really just wanted to say that word. That's an awesome word. Fillet.
How about fellatio? I think it's better.
Is fillet right?
Fillet are you saying like you're turning fellatio into a verb?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How
about fellatiate?
That sounds better.
Yeah.
I'm saying that now. Fellatiate.
Fellatiate. All right. So what about Rule 62? Don't take yourself too seriously. Yep.
Where'd the other 61 rules go?
You don't need to know them. They're not as important. Rule 62 is the
I
most
feel like that
important
should be rule number 1 then. You can't
No, because there's other rules.
A really important rule preceded by a bunch of
I didn't make the rule. I didn't make the rules. I believe.
Well, see, there's your problem. You're living by someone else's rules.
Hey, Alcoholics Anonymous has done me right, and Rule 62 is don't take yourself too seriously. So, don't take yourself too seriously. I don't know what the other rules are, but Rule 62 has got me through a couple of days. So fuck it.
I don't take you that seriously either.
Most people shouldn't because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Is that to say that there's some people that should?
It's possible. Like my kid should take me seriously.
But he won't.
I know.
Don't even worry about
it's
that.
Depressing. My girlfriend doesn't even take me seriously, so I'm way bigger than her, and I'm pretty sure she's sitting out there thinking
she slept with you. She's seen you naked. She can't take you seriously.
Oh snap!
I've seen you mostly naked, and I can't take you seriously just off that.
I know, but you've never seen me do the windmill with my penis.
I hope to God I never do.
And that's how I won her heart. I was like, "Hey, check this out," and then I just whipped it around like a windmill, or like a lasso, I guess.
Like what is it? Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Is that what they do?
Have you never seen the movie?
Yeah, I've seen the movie. No, he does like a truffle shuffle wiggle. I grasp his shaft and then swing.
I'm so happy I have this visual now.
Yeah, well,
I'm very very happy.
Well, I'm just saying.
How many boyfriends do you think and husbands do you think went home after seeing that movie, and the next time they got out of the shower?
Dude, it's a good move, solid move. You know, what can you do?
I don't think it is.
You don't think the truffle shuffle wiener muffle?
It has comedic value. I am almost 100% certain no one in the world looks good doing that.
Well, that's true, especially if you have a little bit of a belly going on, because then you get the real truffle shuffle with the belly or with the the wiener truffle shuffle. And then if you got some like old man balls, they're dangling way down low. You have some like pendulum action.
We're just going off on the worst tangent here.
Hey, and guess what, folks? This entire show is unedited because we just upgraded our media hosting to allow for more megabytes per month, and we happen to do it on like the last fucking day of the month. So we're gonna fill up a shit ton of space, and it's gonna be fun. And that way, I don't have to do anything tomorrow.
And being that it's 1 a.m, there's probably gonna be a lot of.
Whole lot of
I don't want to say interesting, but a lot of random shit said.
Maybe a little bit of facts, mostly fiction.
Yes.
Speaking of fiction, though, I was trying to take a cup of my coffee, but that was a great lead-in. And then I ruined it by saying that. Speaking of fiction, science
fiction?
Oh, boom. Take the first word of that phrase, though. That's
it doesn't work as a lead-in if you have to kind of zigzag your way through a maze to get to your point.
I didn't have to zigzag. You just didn't follow it very well, because if you just if you go fiction, science, people are like, oh, science fiction, I get it. Like everyone in the podcast are like, yeah.
But aren't you going to talk about science, not science fiction?
Exactly, and that's
not a good lead-in.
Listen.
Fail.
Hey, you interrupted me when I was trying to say, now take the first word of that phrase, because that's what we're going to focus on tonight, and that's science.
I mean, I'll leave it to the people to decide, but that was definitely a shitty lead-in.
All right. Well, yeah, so we're going to talk about science this week. And why are we going to talk about science this week also, Josh?
Because you wanted to pick the topic this week and you like science.
That's right. It is because it's my week and we're done listening to some old people and some pyramids. And it's now on to Large Hadron Colliders, multiverses, string theory, and everything else.
Are these all things you're going to talk about tonight, or are those just the most scientific things that you can pull off the top of your head?
Those were the coolest sounding things. But I actually have some much dumber and much funner things to talk about tonight.
Much funner.
Much funner.
Is it going to be more fun?
No, it's going to be funnier. It's going to be more funniest. Is what?
More funniest.
More funniest than anything that you've seen that was funnier than the funnest thing. Boom.
All right, folks. Now, if you have endured through all of that,
if you endured,
hopefully Josh is going to hit you with some interesting shit now.
I'm a lyricist linguist.
To make up for it.
No, I'm probably not going to. But what I will do right now is we're going to sort of talk about why we're going to be talking about science. And that's because this week was World Science Fest. Did you know that, Josh?
I have the benefit of knowing what you're going to talk about ahead of time, so I did.
Shh, don't tell them that. Right now, we need one of those Men in Black mind eraser things, but only if it worked through the airwaves. But then we'd have to, at the end of it, we'd give them a new thing that said they love our podcast and tell all their friends about our podcast. So wait, hang on, let's do it right now.
You know what that reminds me of? I can't remember what it was. It was like a Disney Channel movie, and it was the kid was like, his parents were superheroes and he was a superhero, but he hadn't gotten his powers yet. And
High School High or Hero High? Or...
I honestly have no idea what the name of it was.
Sounds eerily familiar.
And the bad guys were like
shitty movie.
Were like Greenpeace, tofu eating villains who downloaded, like, had some program that the kids had to download onto their back when people were still just using CD-ROMs on the computer and shit. And they would download it and watch it, and it would, like, hypnotize them into stealing money from their parents and giving it to the people and shit.
No, but I do remember the Power Rangers movies when the Ivan the Ooze and the Secret of the Ooze was that the Ooze made the parents his slaves. That was pretty gangster. And then all the kids were just running around.
I don't remember that at all.
That's because you don't like Power Rangers.
I love the Power Rangers.
How could you not remember Power Rangers and the Secret of the Ooze?
Probably because I was like 4 or 5 when that...
Wait, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Secret of the Ooze.
That would make a hell of a lot more sense.
No, but it still was Ivan Ooze in fucking Power Rangers, but maybe that wasn't the name of it. I don't know. Fucking, I would make
all I know is the Ninja Turtles would kick the Power Rangers' asses.
Well, that's because they're Rangers and the Turtles are ninjas, and nobody can beat a ninja. So
what about the samurai?
Yeah, but that gets negated by the fact that these ones are turtles.
The Ninja Turtles were samurais in the second movie. That's what negates that.
Third, actually. So, get your facts right.
Fuck you.
I just wanted to say, you're wrong, though, because, yeah, the second one is The Secret of the Ooze, and the first one is the one where they meet.
So let's get back to talking about science.
That's true. So, World Science Fest 2015. Okay. Actually, nope, just kidding. World Science Fest 2015. Josh is drinking, not brought to you by Double Shot Vanilla Starbucks.
We are never fucking brought to you by Double Shot Vanilla Starbucks anything. Oh my God. That was a mistake.
And
I'm sorry to interrupt again. I just have to say that Starbucks Double Shot in a can. I'm not a huge fan of Starbucks. I am a former employee. I do drink the coffee still.
Oh,
not the greatest, but it tastes good.
It's because he's
canned Starbucks. This is only the second time I've ever had it.
What about the glass jar ones? You like those?
Never had it.
They're all right. It just tastes like
I have to say though,
watered down coffee.
The canned Starbucks Double Shot kind of tastes like what I imagine licking the asshole of someone who drinks too much Starbucks tastes like. And I don't want to drink the rest of it.
Much? That sounds like very like you know what asshole tastes like, and so you had to like make sure that the asshole was appropriate to the flavor you were searching for.
I don't. Never come across a vanilla asshole in my life.
But do you eat asshole?
asshole just to me sounds like it's an awful taste, so that's where I went with it.
Well, you have to have clean asshole, and it's pretty good.
Is that right?
And this is not a clean podcast, and yeah.
So far we have talked about dick windmilling, licking assholes, and Ninja Turtles. I mean, we are...
Fudge.
This is the most scientific podcast I have ever heard.
This is the best. World Science Fest 2015, sparking the brain. Actually, so yeah, the World Science Fest brings together great minds in science and the arts to produce live and digital content that presents the wonders of science and the drama of scientific discovery to a broad general audience. Stop drinking that gross shit. So yeah, that's and it was in New York City. I don't know if it always is in New York City, but it was in New York City this year. And I saw it on Twitter, on the Twitterverse, the Twitter machine, whatever you want to fucking call it.
The twatter.
It's taking over the world, one person at a time. Sort of like Skynet.
Speaking of Twitter,
at Real High EDU.
Go follow us.
And
shout us out. Let us know
us.
how awful you think the podcast is.
But more importantly, after you do that, go on to our website, educatedhigh.com, or go to iTunes and subscribe to Higher Education on iTunes. More importantly,
leave a review.
Exactly. Even more important than all that stuff is you need to leave a review, because we need to be better than someone. And for us to be better than at least one per other podcast out there, we need to start getting more reviews, so that way we have an actual statistical rating.
That, and because I know we're not very good, but until you tell me we're not very good, I'm going to operate under the assumption we are doing this perfectly.
You're not very good. I basically carry the show. I mean, but that's just what I've heard.
That's just because
that's just what I've heard.
You're a much larger ogre-like gentleman, and you can do most of the lifting.
It's mainly because I have a radio voice. Well, we're bringing it back downtown. We're flipping it on over to Charlie Street, and we're going to give it the good old 1, 2. How do you do? ABC 1, 2, 3.
I would have turned the radio off.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is that I just go off into nowhere land when I start to do that voice.
Well, so far we've just gone off into nowhere land this whole time. So.
Good. And we're only 15 minutes in, so get ready, folks.
That 15 minutes was really just a warm up for us to try and wake up a little bit and to weed out the true devoted fans that we don't have right now.
The true listeners. Yep.
Because if you were not scared off by that 15 minutes of bullshit, then
you get all the real facts. You deserve
science much better than what we're going to give you. I'm sorry.
Well, they at least deserve some science.
Okay, so what interesting science-related scientific things did you learn this week?
All right, well, I'm glad you asked. I would tell you about what I actually learned from the World Science Festival 2015, NYC. But instead, I'm going to tell you some other kind of fun things I learned, and then we'll go to the main topic. So, I know I sort of told you this the other day, but I think I'm going to repeat it again on air because it's so awesome. So, take the number 8208, right?
Got it. Holding it in my hands.
You're holding it in your hands with your mental brain. Mentally, you're holding it. Okay. Now, take 8 to the 4th power plus 2 to the 4th power plus 0 to the 4th power plus 8 to the 4th power. Now, if you're actually trying to do that...
You already lost me.
I know. Don't really try to do that. I'm going to tell you what the answer is right now. But if you did that, if you took that four-digit number and you took each digit to the power of 4, guess what you come out to?
Wait, are we adding each of these digits to the power of 4? Or?
Yeah, so 8 to the power of 4 plus 2 to the power of 4 plus 0 to the power of 4 plus 8 to the power of 4.
Got it.
What do you think that would be? 50,261. No, I'm just kidding, because that would be pointless.
I was like, that's very interesting.
It's actually 8208. If you take that number and you take the single digits to the 4th power and add them to each other, you actually come out with 8,208.
Now, is that really interesting?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting.
Is it really interesting?
Dude, numbers are cool, and math is a big part of science.
But I feel like that little interesting math thing is kind of like... Aside from the fact that it's not interesting,
it's interesting because
it's bound to happen in an infinite amount of numbers. There's going to be a number somewhere in there that you could add all of the.
There's only 3 numbers like that in existence.
Is that true? Because there an infinite amount of numbers?
Yeah, but there's only 3 4-digit numbers that to the power of 4 plus each other equals their own.
So then, is there a 5-digit number that the power of 5 added to each of them? The sum comes up to be that number?
It's possible.
Yeah, or is it maybe probable?
It's more than likely.
Is there maybe a 3-digit number that you could do
8208,
that with
bitch,
the power of 3?
8208. Anyways, go check it out on numbers.
Just check it out. Just Google numbers.
Google numbers and start doing the research because there's a lot of them out there and they go on for infinity.
I mean, there's literally an infinite amount of numbers out there, yeah.
Did you know there's more?
I'm going to cut you off now. I did.
Is it more decimals than whole numbers or more negative numbers than whole numbers? I think it's more decimals than whole numbers.
You are talking to someone right now that quit doing math in high school as soon as they passed algebra 2. So
okay, well then yeah, so I'm saying that there's more decimals than there are whole numbers. In an infinite amount of numbers there's still more decimals, because you can just be like point.
Well, that's cool.
All right, so that's one of my things I wanted to bring up. It was just a little quick snippet. What do you got? You got any quick snippets for them out there?
I did. It was actually something that God, I don't know why I just took another sip of that.
Dude, you had like 5 sips of that shit, and you said it was horrible. So
I'm fucking tired.
Confused. It's awkward.
And I don't want to have to get up and leave you alone by yourself so you can rant some more about fucking numbers while I go get a cup of coffee. Or while you cough.
I believe there's actually a perfect number that's 8128, but I'm not positive.
That's weird because you know what the perfect number really is? Think 69. About it. There you go.
Is that because you're a Cancer or a crab or however?
You're kind of naming
I don't know
one of the reasons.
Or is it because you like to get a dick in your face when you're also getting a blowjob?
I mean, no. That's not one of the reasons that it's perfect.
It took a long time. You should have seen his face over here. He was like, dude, why would you bring that? His face was like, dude, why would you bring that up? That's not cool. These people are going to listen to this. And I was like, oh, well. Side note, I almost got us little mini whiteboards so we can communicate while we're communicating.
Could we just pass notes?
Dude, that's what I was talking about. I was going to get a whiteboard, a little tiny one.
Yeah, but I
said, shut the fuck up while I was talking, so that way...
Pad of paper and a pencil does the same.
I know, and that's why I didn't get them, because I was like, oh, I can just get a piece of paper and a pen. So then...
You were too easily convinced. Didn't win because whiteboard is definitely way cooler.
Well, it's easier and less waste, but it's also $7, and I'm not paying $7 for you to have a whiteboard.
Cheap bastard.
Well, what can you say?
Okay, so back to what I was going to talk about.
All right, I'm going to...
Also, 69 is an awesome number because it's the Cancer symbol, and as you can tell by the tattoo, I'm a strict, firm believer in astrology.
Are you talking to me or to all of them? Because none of them can tell you have a tattoo. You're like, as you can tell from this video recording of me shirtless so you can see my tattoo, I have a tattoo. That's what it sounds like.
I was talking to you.
Okay, just making sure. Go ahead.
But it's also just because 69 is... I was going to say the only another thing, but it's not. 88 works too. You could flip it along with 96, I guess, and it's the same damn number.
Yeah, 88's like that.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, then it's...
Does 66 become 99? 99.
Okay, I'm going to just stop talking about numbers now. What I wanted to talk about was something interesting I read after bitching to you because...
What is pi? 3.14 something.
Better with ice cream, that's what it is.
Boom! Math joke. A la mode.
Can we stop talking about math?
Okay. I just wanted to get a little bit of math in there because I feel like it's important.
Math is not important.
Listen.
I'm just kidding. It's
if
very
you're
important.
into science, you should be into math, except for all the non-sciences. Basically, you should just get into astrophysics and biology and chemistry, and that's pretty much it.
What about PE?
Physical education is not really science. I mean, sports medicine, I wouldn't even really consider science. I'm just kidding. I listen to way too many Infinite Monkey Cage podcasts, and they're super dicky about
Are they really?
what's not a science and what is a science. But that's only because Brian Cox is a super intelligent dude, and he just likes to talk shit about everything that's not astrophysics.
See, that's the problem. It's much more fun to learn from people like us that aren't very smart.
Exactly. All I know, I hear from smart people, and so we're basically just playing a giant global
Just
version
add a little
of
bullshit
phone tag.
in there, and now you've got much more interesting education.
Exactly. Oh, hey, real quick, before you talk at all about anything else, shout out to Germany and New Zealand, because we have some downloads in those areas, and if you are those people that did download us, hit us up on Twitter, you assholes, and let us know who you are, because that's awesome. And then,
I'm also just very interested in hearing why you listen to us.
because we're awesome. Haven't you gotten that?
How did they
Listen, the
how
last
did they
25
find
minutes-
us is really more what I meant.
The last 25 minutes is pure awesomeness, and that's why people still listen.
Awesome list?
Awesomeness?
Oh,
Okay, well, I'm going to let Josh take it away while I introduce our new guest.
You are a pig. In case any of you couldn't tell, that is Josh smoking a tobacco water pipe.
It's not true.
Not at all. What I wanted to talk about was actually something that we argued about earlier this week. Well, one of the many things that we argued about earlier this week. We both work for the same company. We stay out of town during the week, and we sleep in the same bedroom. And this asshole, and for those of you that can't see, I am staring at Josh, loves to crank the
It's weird
fucking
because
air conditioning to 40 degrees all
was-
day, every day and night.
he was actually staring at a mirror when he said asshole, but it's...
There are no mirrors in this room. Yep, no mirrors.
Okay.
Yeah, he loves to, well, let me just talk to you. You love to crank the air conditioning
I know.
way too much.
Nope.
Way, way, way too much.
Nope.
It doesn't need to feel like it's snowing in the bedroom
It's...
with a window open.
First of all, don't call it the bedroom like we share.
You mean like we share a bedroom?
Yeah.
We do
say-
share a bedroom.
Don't say it like that. And second of all, I always turn off the AC and just use the fan because you bitch like a little woman.
I wouldn't be bitching, and you wouldn't have to turn off the AC if you didn't already have it blasting.
If I get into the bedroom, if I go into the bedroom
I get it.
and it's
You're
72
you're
degrees,
overweight. You have a couple extra layers
Oh shit!
on you that
Oh shit!
that keep
Just
you
call
warm.
me fat on air. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because leading into my newest segment, Dear Diary, I was actually
Well, hold on. Can we finish?
no. Everyone heard you talk shit about how I have the fucking
That was-
air conditioner on.
See, that was a proper
And you-
lead-in, though. I was
You
leading
called me
into
fat,
what I was
bitch.
going to talk
You
about.
called me fat bitch, and so anyways, Dear Diary.
No, I just called you fat. I didn't call you fat bitch.
Dear Diary. I know I was calling you a bitch. Dear Diary. It must suck to start losing your hair this late in life. I mean,
Much better than losing it at 18.
Because here's the thing. I've had enough time to get used to it, as well as I now just have a look of baldness, like a bald head, and it's attractive. You are trying. I
Very
remember that
debatable.
stage. I'm just saying, man. I was living with you this week, and I saw you a couple times with those long, thin hairs on top, and I thought, yep, I remember that. And I know the struggle you're going through right
First
now.
off, my hair, not thinning on top.
Thinning on top, for
Not
sure.
thinning on top.
Thinning on top for sure.
Very, very, very slightly thinning it back with a slight receding hairline. Still sexy as shit.
No, there's no possible way he's gonna get this sexy soccer douche. By the way, side
It's
note,
not going to happen. I've given
Yeah.
up on that, actually. I am going to cut my hair.
Exactly. By the way, though, I just want to say that in the last podcast, you were the only one to make the reference that the person was sexy. So it's a little weird that you didn't just say soccer douche. You said sexy soccer douche, like you were implying that you had taken a poll of normal soccer douches, and then you'd pick the sexy ones based off of what you actually thought was sexy.
That's actually exactly what I was implying, yes.
Oh, wow, that's weird.
Why would I want to just look like your average soccer douche?
Because I'm just not used to judging soccer douches on their hotness, so it's just, especially in the phrase of sexy, like, there's a difference between, like, yeah, that guy's good looking, and then you were like, yeah, I want to look like one of those sexy soccer douches, and then you metaphorically pointed at one in your brain, and then you saw an image of a dude.
I feel like then you blew. You're taking it all. You're just taking it the wrong way.
What the fuck were you going to talk about? You've been dragging this on forever.
I kind of want to throw the microphone at you across the... I've been dragging this on forever?
Oh, man. I've been trying to pay attention to what you're saying, but it's just like you never fucking start talking.
Is it like you maybe smoked a little too much water or tobacco?
No, because I don't partake.
I just wanted that long pause there so everyone knew that you were just staring off at nothing because you don't partake in, air quotes, water tobacco. So as I was saying, you like to crank the air conditioning, and admittedly did get a little bitchy and whiny about it. I definitely walk in the room and turn it off every single time that I hear that it's on. And I was just about to start bitching about how fucking cold it is in this bedroom. I'm sorry, this studio, when you walked in here. And I remembered an article that I was reading earlier about how cold bedrooms are much better for you to sleep in.
I know, bitch. That's why I do that. But it's also at the same time, if you are kept in a cold room like this and you're not like laying down, it actually will keep you awake, and that's why I do it. Because if we get in a warm mood...
Yeah, because it's very uncomfortable. I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
You're making me uncomfortable, and it's keeping me up.
Yep.
But yeah, not really thankful for that.
The sleep thing, that makes sense, too, because...
well, hold on, though, because it's...
I was just going to... Because I have to talk about it, bitch. I was just saying, I sleep with our window and a fan going all the time, and it's always cold, and you just bundle up in the covers, and it's beautiful.
Well, going back to you being fat, part of the thing was that...
Man, that hurt.
It should. I'm all for fat shaming.
Introducing the higher education diet. Check out Morris J77 and I'll break it down for you because it starts on Monday. You call me fat for so goddamn long, I'm going to get skinny again.
See, fat shaming works.
No, it doesn't really work. You have to fucking be fit and then get fat and realize that you were fit and how easy it was. And then you just fucking stop being fat.
Look, no one was born fat. That's not true. Babies are actually pretty fat sometimes.
You can't really say that.
Okay, so what I was saying is that it's actually it really depends on the temperature, and that's what I was leading into is the fact that you're still an asshole because you definitely make the room too cold. Because from all the research that I've read, and all the research the research papers and articles that I was reading, the ideal temperature. And when I say ideal, it's kind of an average ideal because they do say it varies person to person, and what's perfect for you might be slightly uncomfortable for another. But in the range...
So then there's no real average because they're basically saying
in the range of 64 degrees to 68 degrees.
Exactly.
And if you remember the argument, that is exactly what I was yelling at you, was that, yes, sleeping in a cold room feels nice when it's like 65, 66, 68, somewhere around there, just under 70, and you're like, no, let's freeze this bitch out and let's fucking set it to 40.
Are you retarded? I think you just make things up in your brain. It was set to 64 degrees, and it ran for like an hour in it's a small unit. I guarantee it wasn't even 64 in there.
I agree. It was probably more like 60.
No, it was probably more like
we're gonna check next
68. It was perfect conditions, so don't talk shit.
But my point was, even
wrong.
Then, you're setting it on the low scale.
Dude, I said when we were in the room, 65 is the best, and you fucking now you're saying 64.
But to get into a little more,
into
a little more of the science behind it, and I say science loosely, because a lot of this might just be pulled out of my ass.
Like Cindy?
That took me a second to get that reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
An inside joke that I'm not even really part of on air that no one else will get. High five.
Part of
Air five.
Boom.
Yes.
All right.
Should have
Check
some sound effects in there.
At Real High EDU.
Pardon me. What I was saying is, now you made me lose my train of thought. I don't even remember what I was saying. The science to it. the two main things that are beneficial to sleeping cold is, one, it can help with insomnia. It can help you fall asleep faster and help you sleep deeper. And a lot of the reason for that is it's similar to if you think about hypothermia, which makes sense because it is a very, very mild, not really a mild form, but you get what I mean, a mild form of hypothermia.
Hyper.
Hypo.
Good
Cold.
job. Good job, buddy. I'm proud of you. You know things.
I know my words.
You know your suffixes?
Science.
I was going to say suffixes, prefixes, ixes.
That's a prefix. Prefix as in pre, it comes before the root word.
Boom. There you go.
I might have been wrong with root word there. That might have... Whatever.
Science.
It's late. But what I was saying is it's
all the subjects of school today. There was a little grammar, English. Boom.
That's
we did a little math earlier. We talked about physical education. We did. We talked about
in the sense that we said the word physical education. Yes, we talked about it.
Boom.
Okay, but if you think about it as in the same way that when you reduce the core body temperature, your body kind of slows down to conserve energy because your body, it sends a signal of, whoa, shit, I'm freezing. I'm gonna die if I, don't slow things down, which is why it kind of gives you that deeper sleep. Think of it almost like hibernating, but for like 8 hours. And the other benefit to it is that it has great effects for your metabolism. It boosts your metabolism. And it has been shown that in males tested, I believe the ages were 22 to 30. I don't remember the exact number of people tested. In relatively average shape. I'd say average shape for the world, not America, because our average shape is definitely not okay. But that it increased the amount of brown adipose fat that they have, which for those of you that don't know, I'm just going to call it brown fat. Brown fat is the good fat. There is such thing as good fat.
Monounsaturated, polyunsaturated?
Brown.
Okay.
It's the fat that I don't know exactly how to put it, but it basically helps control your other fat. I know that's not the right way to put it, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Science. But it helps, it boosts your metabolism. It can greatly help with weight loss, which is why I shout out to the 4-Hour Body for those of you that have never read it. Tim Ferriss's book. Learned a lot from listening to his podcast and reading his books. There's a great chapter in there about brown adipose fat, so go ahead and pick that book up. Maybe we can get Tim Ferriss to shout us out and be like, hey, you mentioned me. Probably not. Hey. He's got a lot of followers, I'm just saying.
I like how you said his voice there. You're like, hey, you mentioned me. Like he would be excited that our shitty show would mention him.
Well, that's what the voice is kind of like, hey, they mentioned me. I don't really care because it's a shitty show.
Yeah. Well, we did already mention the Infinite Monkey Cage.
That is true.
Yeah. And Brian Cox. What were you saying?
Is your train of thought that bad now?
No, because I just looked over to the right and I saw what I was about to talk about, and then I went back to brown fat.
What I was saying is that there's a great chapter in there about
Tim
taking
Ferriss.
Yes, the 4-Hour Body, about taking ice baths regularly. And when I was still,
I was gonna say, you mean like athletes too?
Yeah, I was gonna say when I was still athletically inclined, I was cutting 15 pounds a few weeks out from a fight, and I was taking ice baths, and I was doing it, exactly by the book. When I say by the book, I mean literally by the 4-Hour Body, and it made a big difference for me. And I read a lot of research on it after that, on like why the hell did this actually work? Because I kind of went into it very skeptical, didn't expect it to work. After the first try, didn't really want to do it again. Felt like shit. Don't suggest doing it unless you really need to. But there's a lot of health benefits, and it boosts the metabolism, and it helps your body burn calories just throughout the day, and that the amount of calories burned with your body trying to heat its core back up to temp. Definitely great for losing. When I say losing weight, really cutting weight. I mean, it's good for losing weight, but I wasn't doing it as a long-term goal. Very short-term. Stop staring at me like that.
I could hear you swallow that snot on the microphone.
I apologize. I still have a
Gross.
cold.
Gross.
As those of you that listened to last week's episode might remember.
So what you're saying is you burn more calories trying to heat your body back up.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was saying. In sleeping in the cold, what they've suggested is if you are going to sleep in the cold, a lot of people it's very uncomfortable, obviously, if you're sleeping and your whole body's cold. They say a lot of the benefits come from actually just having your head exposed.
Yep. That's
sleeping nice and bundled up, and they say having a skin temperature around 90 degrees
sounds familiar.
Is again ideal, but I say ideal in air quotes. Is ideal, and if you think about it, if you're wrapped up in blankets, your skin temperature is probably higher than 90 as it is. So, say sleeping in a thin blanket, not next to someone. I happen to share my bed with someone who is well, actually, no, he's got his own bed now.
He doesn't sleep in there, you know it.
No, he does. He sleeps in there every night.
Dude, don't lie.
Every night he sleeps in there.
I've heard the stories of you getting kicked out of your own bed by your 2-year-old son.
Yeah, but that was before he was 2. He's a big boy now.
Oh, okay.
Just got his own potty.
All right, we need to get off of that potty. We can't talk about dick windmills and pooping and then try to mention real sponsors. So let's not do that.
God, it's late.
Are you done talking? Or are you going to finish your sentence?
I was going to before you rudely interrupted me again.
Okay, go ahead.
The whole point of that was, it was my way of throwing a little bit of science into a topic while saying you were a little bit right about one argument we had this week.
It sounds like you basically said everything I was doing last week was for the benefit of you and myself.
No.
You just don't know.
I'd also like to just throw out that the little bit you had right on accident, so no, it doesn't mean shit.
I live my life like that every day. That's how I sleep every day. And that's why I'm so smart, because whatever you said that was good about that, that's what I do and that's what I get. And that proves that I know a lot of stuff.
Science.
Boom. Speaking of science, actually, one of the cool things I learned about this week, it's not new. Some of it's sort of new, but it's actually, I still think it's fucking cool. You ever heard of spider goat silk?
I have, actually.
It's pretty cool.
I have.
What have you heard?
Would like to have some.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't heard about spider goat silk, you're probably a normal fucking person, because that sounds like a really weird thing to say.
Now, when I say I have, I just gotta go out on a limb here and say we are. I don't know if we're even talking about the same thing. I just heard spider silk and was thinking about past articles I read. It's the synthetic silk that they're making now, right? That's supposed to be like per particle or whatever, per the amount that it uses one of the strongest substances that they have.
Yeah, but it's not synthetic. It's amazing.
It's not synthetic?
Check this out.
Because I thought that it was a synthetic that they were making based off of the real silk.
No, check this out. So, the way that they did this... Now, I have an article here that's about sort of this skin that this place is kind of creating, which I'll talk about in a second. But the main part of where it came from and everything, look it up yourself, but I'll give you the basic rundown. What happened is we use goats for everything, right? Besides from America and a couple other countries, goats are really used a lot more than cows are, because compared to, it's a 150-pound animal, produces the same amount of milk per pound that a cow does.
Does it really?
Yeah, per pound. So
I might have to get me a goat.
Exactly. I mean, you have to get used to the fact that it's goat milk.
I have eaten goat.
I've had goat cheese, not bad.
Pretty delicious. Goat cheese is the best.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But I mean, like goat cheese as other cheese, like goat Swiss cheese, basically. Like I've had non-dairy.
I don't know, I've just had goat cheese.
Yeah. Well, so goats are more. They're hardier. They're easier to move. They produce the same amount.
Efficient.
Yeah, exactly. They're a very efficient animal, especially for you really doing any sort of mass producing of a food source or anything like that. Oh, Josh knocked his microphone out. That's why it was all loud in my ear for a second. So, what they did is they went, okay, this is crazy, dude. They went inside the DNA of a golden orb spider, and they found the genome that is the reason the silk is created. So they went inside. They took they researched and they they watched their golden orb spiders and they fucking did all
the golden orb spider is the one that has the crazy strong web, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so they went into the genome and they found this genome that creates the silk. And so they took that genome and then they actually put it into a goat. They went into a goat's genetic life, basically, and they added in
DNA.
Yeah, well, genetic footprint or genetic sequence. See, that's the best term. They went into a goat's genetics. G'day, folks. That's all, folks. But no, they went into a goat's genetic sequence, and then wherever they wanted to in the evolutionary part or whichever, basically they wanted
in the sequence.
They wanted it in the milk, so they put it in the in the part of the sequence that was the milk process. So what happens is it's just like curds and whey.
Okay, hold on a second though. I gotta stop real quick.
Yep.
Are you about to tell me that these goats can be milked web?
I know it sounds like that would be awesome, but no, it's not really like that.
I don't know if it was awesome. I was a little concerned for these goats.
It would be amazing, like Spider-Man goats with their udders.
That's what I was picturing.
Or teats, if we're being grammatically correct. So yeah, so it's not spider, silk's web coming out of their udders. But what happens is you take the milk and you process it just like you would to make curds and whey and cheese and all that stuff. And you process out the silk. You process out the spider silk. And then they use that as Kevlar, as body armor. And it's like, 5 times more effective than Kevlar.
Now, I apologize for not being super scientific on this one, but as we have learned in the past from very reliable sources, you can milk anything with nipples.
You can't milk us.
Does this mean that we can have people that have silk boobies?
I'm glad you asked that, but let me say this first, because this is the other. It's kind of a cool thing about how they're. I mean, it's not cool to fuck with genomes, but if you're going to do it, the way it's set up, it's actually really smart because they only mess. So you mess with the DNA of the mother, right? And then the next generation, when she has children, half of her litter, half of her children will be genetically mutated to produce spiderweb milk. And then all you need is 1 or 2 of those genetically modified, and then you can just bang out regular. You don't have to have a bunch of genetically modified to actually get it going, because it's actually, if you're familiar with most breeding, but especially ball pythons, is very similar, where you breed the different mutation and the litter or the hatch comes out. Half of it is dominant for that gene, and the other half is recessive for that gene. So they carry the gene, but they don't actually produce it. So then you can have basically a farm of spider silk producing goats, and all you have to do is have like 1 or 2 regular goats around just to fuck, and then you'll keep producing. Because I think if you do like 2 spider goats, you might create like a super spider goat, and it might not.
It might have 8 legs.
Well, no, I think sometimes it's they cancel each other out. Like gene can cancel each other out some way. That happens.
They'll get like the recessive gene from each parent.
Yeah, something like that. That happens in ball pythons if you have.
So what exactly is the point of getting this silk from the milk? What do they do with it?
Well, like I said, most people can use it as just like a Kevlar, as a bulletproof vest. But I found this article, on the Daily Mail. It's probably really old. I don't really care, but I'm gonna read a little bit of it because it's kind of crazy. I
mean, I feel like you kind of skipped over a little bit of craziness already, and just assumed that we all knew what the hell you were talking about. Because did you just tell me that, like most people, you just use it as a Kevlar vest? And
well, yeah.
Care to elaborate on that? You're telling me I can use silk as a Kevlar vest?
You didn't know that?
I don't believe you.
Mythbusters proved it, motherfucker.
That you can use silk as a Kevlar vest?
Yeah, they took like, I think, swatches of silk fabric and then just layered them. And at some point,
all right, I'm gonna say that's not myth busted then, because I can take styrofoam, and at a certain point, if I keep layering, it's gonna stop a bullet as well.
Yeah, but not in the volume needed to actually wear a bulletproof vest. Silk, you can do it. You can have 20 layers and be only 2 inches thick. Styrofoam, you'd need fucking 2 feet to not
So
get...
2 inches of silk can stop a bullet?
I don't know the specific number, but I bet you it's something like that.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Dude, if you think about it, it's just interwoven
I might have
fabric.
to start wearing a little more silk.
Well, you need to wear a lot more silk, especially spider silk from goats.
Where can I get this spider silk from goats?
I don't know. But let me tell you, that would be something way cooler than fucking having a Kevlar vest. Are you ready? Dutch researcher Jalila Isadi, I don't know, and who cares, said the spider silk project was called 2.6 G329 MS after the weight and the velocity of a 22 caliber long rifle bullet. So
that was almost the name of this podcast.
That actually, it's weird. It was on the list, but it didn't make the cut. It lost out to higher education.
Too many numbers.
So I guess the weight of a 22 caliber bullet is 2.6 grams, and the velocity is 329 meters per second. If you didn't know, so the name of the project is 2.6 G 329 meters per second. So working with the Forensic Genomics Consortium in the Netherlands, she said the goal was to replace the keratin in our skin with the spider silk.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. I gave you a second so you could hear that part.
Admittedly, there was a slight double take. They're going to replace the keratin in ours, as in human skin, with the spider silk?
Yep.
Are we... I mean, maybe it's just the way I'm hearing this. Are we talking about making bulletproof people?
Bulletproof skin.
Bulletproof skin. Now...
Wait. The first stage involves growing a layer of real skin around a sample of the bulletproof skin, which takes about 5 weeks. Now, Asadi said the project was making science fiction a reality, even if the test results were not yet perfect. She said the silk has a long history of use in battle and combat, and that Genghis Khan once issued all his horsemen with silk vests as an arrow hitting... these people don't have fucking right. Basically, Genghis Khan ordered all of his horsemen to wear silk vests because arrows
Do you
can't
mean
pierce.
Genghis Khan?
Genghis, you're right. Excuse me. Fucking politically correct assholes. But look, it's right here.
It's actually grammatically correct, but okay.
I guess not really, because it depends on where you're from. There are a lot of people that pronounce things differently, and it's still grammatically correct where they're from. Like in England, they pronounce garage, and we say garage. Who's really right?
Us.
Except we came from them. So
Problem
our
solved.
language is a derivative.
Yeah, but did you know
language.
that their accents are actually made-up accents?
Imagine a spider silk vest capable of catching bullets, the modern-day equivalent of Genghis Khan's arrows, she said. Now let's take this one step further. Why bother with a vest? Imagine replacing keratin, the protein responsible for the toughness of the human skin, with the spider silk protein. So basically what they're saying is, just like with the goats, they're going to go back into the golden orb spider's genome, and they're going to fucking get that... producing thing. Then they're going to go back into the human DNA, find the genome for keratin, which is, part of our skin producing system.
Just the gene.
Huh?
They're going to find the gene, not the genome.
I don't know. Are you right on that, or am I right on that?
I don't know.
I'm going to go with genome. So they have to find the genome for keratin, and then they theoretically they put in the fucking spider web, and then our skin will produce, a silk that theoretically is capable of stopping a 22.
Now, this brings up two questions in my mind. One,
or like 70 million questions, because it
should.
should.
Two glaring questions for me. You said they're going to replace the keratin in our skin with the silk protein, or the gene, the silk gene, the spider goat silk.
I mean, I don't know if they're replacing it, but they could be replacing it. I don't know what the fucking fallback of getting rid of keratin.
Yeah,
in our skin is.
that was kind of the main question. Let's think about, is our skin going to just suddenly fall off because it doesn't have I don't know what keratin actually does, but I'm pretty sure it's useful. I think we need it.
Okay, but if you were standing in a grocery line and on the menu for your choices of what you could have for your life, there was keratin, which is this fleshy shit we have now that gets hurt all the time, or spider silk skin. Which one would you choose?
Well, I'm the kind of person that likes to know what I'm eating, read the labels on things. I think I might have to do a little quick Google search and say which one of these is necessary to live. Now, on the other hand, if they're not actually replacing the keratin...
What if we're living in a world with gunshots and violence all the time, and there's a possibility of you getting shot, and your kids getting shot? Obviously, you and I couldn't get this fucking genome. I don't know why we're talking about it like we could. It would be our kids. It's it gets bred into you.
Well, yeah, as I say, it wouldn't even be.
But just think about that. I'm not saying that they're doing, it's going to be anything amazing, but stop pulling the cord out, motherfucker. There are people right now working on combining human skin and super strong spider silk. Science.
My second question, does she happen to have a bald head and use a wheelchair?
No? What?
Just the smile on your face right now.
I was like, wait, what is he talking about? And then in my head I have an idea. In my head I have an idea of what he's talking about, but I'm not really sure if we're both thinking about the same thing, and I'm not going to admit what I'm thinking about.
That is a quality 2 a.m. joke. Thank you very much.
I don't get it.
Professor X.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I got that.
Yeah.
I did have it, but I
assumed from the big smile on your face.
Yeah. Well, Professor X, like X-Men, and they were always in combat.
Or the fact that they're making mutants with bulletproof skin.
Well, yeah, that too, but I was going to say...
I'm just saying, when these bulletproof people come around, I am all for putting them on a list. We need to know where they are and who they are and what they're capable of.
Spider silk people are on a list?
They should be.
Sounds racist. You're judging a person by their skin, Josh?
It's not actually a race.
Yeah, but the definition of racism is it has to do with the color of someone's skin.
Yeah, this isn't
the spider
color.
silk. Hey, we don't know. The spider silk could produce a slightly,
No, but what you see is racism
or something.
Gray. Racism has to do with the color. Well, technically, it has to do with their race.
But if you look at the definition,
but it's judging them based off of that.
Exactly.
I don't care what color these spider people are. More concerned with the fact that their skin is impenetrable by... Of course, we're also assuming this is, a 22 caliber? What happens when they get shot with a 40 caliber?
The same thing that would happen to you when you get shot with a 45.
Well, then this does absolutely nothing for anybody.
It does more than what we have now, is all I'm saying. And when we started and I said goats...
I would like to point out, though, that we have Kevlar vests now.
Yeah, but they only cover...
That can stop 22s.
You have to put them on. I'm just saying.
As well as helmets.
I'm just saying, your grandkids could possibly have spider silk skin. Imagine giving a tattoo to somebody.
I'm putting it in my will that any grandkid of mine that has spider silk skin is getting nothing.
That's going to make them all want to do it. And then they can just fuck off. And
Only while they're teenagers, though.
I think I'm going to write into your will that I get all your money.
You don't actually get to write into someone else's will.
Oh, that's what you think. But...
Speaking of wills, I'm actually supposed to be working on one right now for our life insurance.
Oh, that's good. Speaking of dying...
That's exactly what we're doing on this podcast right now.
So awkward, and it's bringing me down. You know what? It's bringing me down.
Well, I was waiting for you. You said you had another... You were looking at what you were going to talk about next.
Well, yeah, it was sort of a good lead-in, and then you fucked it up.
It can't be any worse than your last one, so just go for it.
Higher education brought to you by Groundworks Jiu-Jitsu of Yuba Sutter. Check them out at 424 D Street, Marysville, or give them a call at 530-936-7655. Sean is a beast, and he learned from some really, really great dudes. His lineage is awesome, and he really makes it fun. So if you're interested and you're in the Sacramento area, check out Yuba City Groundworks or Groundworks of Yuba Sutter. Or I also believe there's Groundworks in Sacramento, but they're not sponsoring us. So
don't mention them?
No, but you know what? Groundworks in all is a pretty awesome school.
Speaking of which, we still have to go to a class.
Well, that's because
I believe we promised these people on a previous podcast that we would we'd roll.
You don't remember? Okay, Josh got beat so bad. He's actually blocked it out of his memory. That's crazy.
Well, that is definitely not true.
Last Friday, we went, and I whooped his ass, and I guess he doesn't remember because it was so embarrassing for him.
I mean, that must be the case because not only do I not remember that happening last Friday, but I very vividly remember a whole different series of events happening that Friday that did not involve you.
It's possible. Highly unlikely, but possible.
I mean, fact, so I guess it's really not highly unlikely.
Damn it, you got me on that one.
But along with us not actually going and rolling yet, which is, I solely blame you because every Friday now you're like, oh, I'm just so tired and
That's
lazy.
not true. I did that one time.
I had to work out of town a little bit like you've been doing for like years now, and it's so difficult and so hard to do. Aside from that, we as well have not gone to the float therapy that we discovered in Marysville. And I say discovered as in, and this was my little lead in, is the fact that you found out about it.
Don't talk about them too much though, because we need to. We want them to sponsor us, and if we give it away for free,
I'm not gonna give names.
I know, but don't say where it is.
I already did. Yeah.
I know. Why are we whispering?
I don't know.
All right, so float therapy is pretty awesome.
As I was saying, except
we don't know because we haven't been.
I want to say it right now on air so that I can at least hold myself to it that I am going to go next weekend. So hopefully that'll give us a little snippet to talk about on the podcast.
And
but it's something that I've wanted to do for quite a while, so I'm kind of excited about it.
As of now, he has no reservation, so we'll see how that works out.
There's a couple places in Sacramento as well. Pretty sure I'll be able to get in there.
Just walking in like an asshole. No reservation. No reservations. I probably shouldn't say that.
You probably shouldn't.
I don't know. Anthony Bourdain is awesome, so who cares? That show's great, and I wouldn't say anything bad about it in the first place. And this is not something we're doing for money, so I don't think it counts that way. You have to be making money off something to actually...
I mean, it'd be good if we actually learned the rules on that.
I think podcasts, you can say whatever the fuck you want. Because it's not on air.
And what are they going to sue us for?
Yeah, I don't have any money to give them anyways. Yeah. And we're not talking shit, so...
All right, so what other interesting scientific facts or pseudo-facts, non-facts, complete made-up bullshit, anything, what science have you learned this week?
Pseudoscience?
Pseudoscience.
Scientology.
You want to get into Scientology?
No, I just wanted to sound...
Because I feel like that's a whole podcast of its own.
Well, that was a tease on it because... it really means nothing, and that was the entire concept of Scientology.
Don't say that to Tom Cruise.
Listen, he's on a level that you just haven't reached yet, and I would tell you about that level,
but I'm
supposed to deny it even isn't clear. Going clear? All right, it's way too much fucking silence in this podcast this week.
We could edit that out.
Yeah, but then I'd have to actually do some work, and I don't feel like it. So, how you doing today?
I'm doing great today, because I spent the day at Bridgeport.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's fun. You were complaining earlier about having to wait for a bunch of people and not eating. And can I just tell you, you're sort of a grumpy little bitch when you don't eat.
Is that true? Or is it that I'm a little bit grumpy when I have to sit in this room by myself waiting for you to start doing this podcast late, even though we start doing the podcast later than we probably should to begin with? And I'm hungry. But I'm always hungry, so you know what? That doesn't really count.
I brought you bottomless steak fries.
No, you didn't.
I know. The woman I love.
Because to be bottomless... Well, I wasn't even saying that. Yeah, that's very true. She brought them, not you.
They do have a bottom.
But they are not bottomless because we are not currently at the restaurant.
And they're in a box, and it does have a bottom.
Yep.
So...
you got the point?
All right. I see what you're saying. And I'm just going to drag this along until you say some more stuff.
I thought this was supposed to be your episode.
What are you chewing on?
Plastic.
Did you bring anything for us to be brought to you by? What are we not brought to you by this week? Also, Josh?
I was going to do the Starbucks double shot, but then I tasted it, and I sincerely don't want to be brought to you by that, so I guess we could be brought to you by not brought to you by bottomless steak fries. Steak pommes frites.
Dude, fuck Red Robin and their bullshit they put me through tonight.
Are we adding them to the Sears list?
Fuck Red Robin and fuck Sears. Thanks for the bottomless fries, but fuck you, Red Robin. And That's all I have to say about that.
Are you about to play some music? Is that what's happening?
No.
There is a guitar out.
I figured.
There's a guitar out with a man with a beard and a microphone.
I figured I could do my science with a little guitar. I'm just kidding.
You can't be just kidding. Now that you have that guitar out, you kind of need to do a little science jingle.
No, I'm not doing it. Okay.
That was such a letdown. I got my hopes up, didn't you? I was getting a little excited. That's quite loud, my friend. Tone it down. Tone it down. I don't like your rock and roll crazy shit.
Science. Transcranial Direct Current Stimulation. I'm just kidding. Wait. How about this? Transcranial Direct Current Stimulation. What do you do to me? All the times that I stuck my brain into the sea. On transcranial direct current stimulation.
Can I ask, why did this turn into a country song? It started off decent.
Well, it felt like I'm just gonna bring it on home right now. Right?
Can we end it with a little screamo?
No. So basically, what transcranial direct current stimulation is they're zapping your brain just like they did in the 1940s.
So like they used to treat psychiatric patients, kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, they actually psychiatric patients.
I feel a little bit like I'm in preschool right now, and you're like,
well, let me.
I don't want to use any specific names, but one of those guys with a guitar that comes and plays songs to the kids to teach them.
I really wish I.
You even have a little bit of that voice too. Just talking.
I really wish I wrote like a fucking a song about
that. Needs to be a new segment of the show.
Transcranial direct current stimulation. It's a part of your brain where they shock you real good. No, so basically, in the 1940s, they were doing it, and it was actually to deal with depression, because they were essentially dulling a part of your brain with the overstimulation of the electricity, basically the stimulation through the electrodes on your brain, and it was supposed to sort of dull the senses and make you really not care that you were sad earlier.
Oddly enough, it sounds pretty damn depressing.
Well, I feel like being in a mental ward would definitely be pretty depressing.
Yeah, you know.
So I wrote a song about it.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
You scared me for a second.
I didn't write a song about it. I'm just kidding. But what I did do is I learned a little bit more because I got interested. Transcranial direct current stimulation.
No, so they don't still do that in psychiatric hospitals, do they?
Not that I'm aware of. Actually, the thing today that is going on is modern medicine has actually sort of turned its back on neural stimulation. Well, that's not true so much, as most modern medicine has really not jumped on board of this thing yet. But what's going on actually is there's a new wave of this transcranial direct stimulation, or TDCS.
See, I say instead of that, we bring back
TDCS.
lobotomies.
That's basically what lobotomies depend on which, aspect you want to look at. But yeah, some lobotomies were like, they just jammed a spike into your brain.
Didn't they go through the eye too? Oh,
yeah.
God, that's awful.
Well, back in the day when they were trying to figure out how to use electromagnetic fields to stimulate the people's brains, they would actually just stack magnets on top of your skull, trying to figure, because they put one magnet and then it wouldn't work, so they put two magnets and then three, but these are big magnets, 5-10 pound magnets, and people
and
were
eventually
fucking
they got to a point where it was so heavy that these people were like, get these fucking magnets off me.
Essentially they just Dude.
And then they were like, aha, you're not thinking about how sad you are anymore.
There was a story actually that I heard today from a guy that was talking about this that said earlier in the 1940s when they were doing trying to learn about basically magnetic direct current or magnetic stimulation or transcranial magnetic stimulation, transcranial direct stimulation, direct current stimulation, there was this person that was blind, and they devised that they could basically zap her with these electromagnetic waves and it would cure her blindness. And guess what?
It didn't work.
She died blind. Science. I'm just kidding.
Technically, that is science.
Well, it was.
They had a hypothesis. They tested it out.
And they found out they were wrong.
That they were very, very wrong.
They were wrong. Yeah, so...
One of the downsides of science, a lot of the time, most of the time, you find out you're wrong.
Transcranial direct current stimulation. So nowadays, actually, what they're doing is
Are you just going to pretend like you didn't just sit and play the guitar there for 30 seconds?
I'm probably going to bust it out later. It's actually kind of fun because I don't give a fuck, because this podcast is something that I enjoy doing. And people know I do tattoos, and now they know I play guitar, and I'm just fucking, I'm just the best at everything.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to mention something to you about that.
What?
Are you licensed to do tattoos?
I was.
By was, you mean not currently?
Well, that's why I don't work in a shop.
Blink, yes.
I actually don't work in a shop.
Blink twice if that's a yes.
I don't work in a shop because I'm not a diva, and I also...
More so what I was saying is the fact that...
Who cares?
Can't you get in trouble for doing tattoos? License?
No, not in your own home.
Are you making that up?
No, it's true.
You can't get in trouble for doing tattoos in your own home?
No, but technically, I'm not going to say what could happen, but it's not like you can't get in trouble for it, but someone could sue you if something went wrong and there's nothing to protect you from it.
Alex isn't smart enough to sue anyone anymore.
Well, he listens to this podcast, and so he might sue me just for fun. Or
yeah, but he also knows us, and he knows that we don't have any money, so there's no real point.
All he has to do is get transcranial direct current stimulation.
And then he'll die and not remember any of it.
Only in the 1940s. Nowadays, you can buy them online.
You mean eBay?
It's becoming a new craze.
Okay, really though, put down the guitar, because I actually do want to hear about this, and the guitar is definitely distracting you.
All right. So basically what's going... It's actually, from what I understand, it's fucking kind of the Wild West out there, because it's so unregulated. Because right now, the units that are being pumped out there to the kids, they're not classified as a medical tool, so they don't have to be approved by the FDA.
They're selling it as like a novelty.
No, they're selling it as a gaming thing. It's to enhance your cognitive function. So that's how they're saying it is. So a lot of what's going on is actually...
is this a little bit like in Napoleon Dynamite, where they have the time traveling thing that I want to say brother, I don't remember if it's his brother. I think it's his brother that buys off the internet and zaps his balls.
I don't know what you're talking about. And no, it's not. But... You remember those ab belts that they used to promise that you'd get super good abs if you didn't have to diet or do any sit-ups, you just put on this belt and it shocked your abs? I do,
and that's funny because I was actually just watching TV the other day and another one of those infomercials came on, and my first thought was, what the hell? Didn't these disappear years ago?
No, they're coming back.
When people found out that it was all bullshit.
Well, if you think about it, it's not bullshit.
No, when you think about it,
no, it's not. It's not bullshit.
Makes it bullshit.
No, it's not. If you really think about it, what's happening? A current.
It's just contracting the muscle.
Exactly, but
that's not what actually builds strength and muscle, though.
Listen, increasing your weight builds muscle, but constantly flexing your muscles helps create the lactic acid that then will help you create more muscle once you burn that off. That's how it works. Like, it's not going to give you super ripped abs, and it's not going to melt away the belly fat. But if you were skinny and you didn't have a six-pack and you use that, it would give you a six-pack. It's just like doing low weight, high reps.
I don't know if that's true because
It is. It's low rate, high
I was
rep.
pretty damn skinny, and I actually had one of them, and I used it for a couple months, and it didn't do a damn thing.
Dude, it's low. It's the same thing as low weight, high reps. It's a toning thing. It's not to
It's
give
not though,
you-
because it's more
is.
like the same as if I sat here and just flexed my arm for an hour every single day.
Yeah. And in fucking 6 months, if you did that every single day for an hour, your body would be stronger in that part of your body, and you would be more toned. That's how fucking muscles work.
I just don't think it was very effective.
Well, I'm not saying it was the greatest product in the world, but I'm saying
in theory, yes, flexing your muscle does have
and
a
the
positive
point is,
effect, but
and the point is
those
that
belts
a
don't
lot of those belts
achieve
were
it.
fucking just, they're cheap reproductions of a concept. The concept is that currents can stimulate your body and produce an effect that is what, a result is what you're looking for, which is fucking either stronger abs or more impressive abs. But in this case, the direct current stimulation, what we're trying to get out of it is improved cognitive function, meaning my brain works faster and it remembers more and it's more stimulated.
Do they have any actual evidence that they're working?
There's a shit ton of evidence out there right now on it being effective. The problem with it, though, is there's not which with most things that are sort of new and in the wild west stage, there's not a lot of long-term results on what it's actually doing in the negative aspect. There's no
double-blind testing.
Well, there is, but there's no long term. There's no test that goes basically like this: fucking stimulation, or you have your control, have them perform these tests, and stimulation, have them perform these tests, stimulation, have them perform these tests, stimulation, have them. Through that cycle, there's no long term research of what the effects.
So they don't know now that you might have a little bit better cognitive memory, but
you could also
in 2 years your arm stops working,
or you could forget how to tie your shoe, or you forget how to speak English.
Is worse.
I don't know, but you know what I mean. So it's right now. It's at the same time. That's what a lot of the pharmaceuticals we're taking. I mean, there are a lot of testing, but at the same time, we don't really know what the long term effects of chemicals like Adderall will do, especially when you're taking them on a person that is unsubscribed, it's not a subscription for them, and they're taking them at huge doses. This is happening in gamers. This is happening in kids that are studying in college. This is people that work long shifts and things like that. They're taking these over-the-counter medications, and this is sort of the same thing, but in a non-drug package.
Well, not to mention the fact that even with drugs that they do test that way, it's the same reason you see infomercials or commercials all the time with, if you've had any of these side effects and you've taken this, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury and death.
Mesothelioma?
Well, that's one of the many commercials. But that's what I'm saying is the fact that even these again in air quotes, well-tested, regulated drugs, there's so many damn side effects that they don't even know about because they haven't had the long-term testing. And when you start messing with your brain, you're really kind of pushing the limit on the risk factor of what could be a possible future side effect in the long term.
And that's what dealing with pharmaceuticals. And that's where this is sort of, it's possible to be a cleaner alternative because you're not actually putting anything into your body.
Aside from electric current,
which are all around us at the moment right now anyways. Yeah, say
yes.
Just say yes.
Not directed to specific areas of the brain.
They're just,
or the head.
The waves that were hitting us right now are just not as intense, is what you mean to say.
Well, no, I mean, yes, as intense,
Yes.
but they're also not just specifically directed at one spot.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Waves are still hitting, electromagnetic waves or, current waves are still hitting us. So I'm just pointing it out that we're doing that right now, and it's okay. All right?
Is it okay?
I don't know. We probably have cancer.
That's an awful thing to say.
I know. But I think the statistic is like 65% of all Americans, or it might be Americans or North America,
Maybe if we stopped eating so much fast food and then trying to cure the symptoms, with other drugs that end up having worse side effects than the symptoms you're curing, we wouldn't get cancer.
Or if we could just produce a goat to make a spider gene that, stops
Cures cancer?
Yeah. I think I read something about, not goats, but something about cancer being cured, or one of the things I was looking up giving an insight into stopping cancer.
Yeah, there's actually a lot. In fact, I don't want to get too much into it on this episode because I feel like we could and should do a whole episode on that, because there's a lot of interesting things going on in the cancer curing realm right now.
Why'd you use the word realm?
I don't know. It fit.
Did it sound good to you?
It might have something to do with the very large Hobbit map of Middle Earth hanging on the wall in front of me.
Does that remind you of a realm?
It is a realm.
Define a realm.
No.
That's because you can't. Don't use a word if you can't fucking know when it's supposed to be used.
It fit.
I don't know if it did. Transcranial Direct Current Stimulation. So what they're doing, and this is a lot of, it's not just Asian countries, but there's a heavy gamer population in those countries, and so there's a bigger market out there, and basically it's just it's like a headset, like these headphones basically, with a couple little extra plastic pieces that go over, specific parts of your head, and they sit and play video games while getting this stimulation. And a lot of people will say, well, why do we need stimulation, or that's cheating, or that's this and that's that, but at the same time, we're both sitting here in this room with coffee, and caffeine is a stimulant.
I don't know if coffee is the right word for what I was drinking.
Well, it was supposed to be.
That's true, but I mean, that goes, I'm not a gamer. I don't know what they'd consider cheating and...
Cheating? I'm glad you brought that up.
Why?
Because think about this. Say you have a guy or girl, it doesn't matter. They're in med school, and they take Adderall to study, and they pass their tests, and then they quit taking Adderall, and then they're a doctor. Do you think that person still has the mental capability that they had to pass those tests, or did they basically cheat, and now they're not actually as smart of a doctor as they pretended to be?
Be speaking a little out of turn here because I don't know exactly how Adderall works, but if by cheating you mean it's helping them study and then they no longer have the same ability, then it doesn't really matter. They've studied and hopefully retained the knowledge that they need to pass that in the first place.
Yeah, but really
it might diminish their ability to learn more as they go in their career, but I don't think you pass the test, become a doctor, and then forget half the shit you already learned just because you stopped taking Adderall.
I'm not saying forget, but I'm saying if their normal capacity, their normal, brain capacity was not, they had to take something, because there's lots of doctors that don't. There's lots of people take tests that don't have any stimulant. But this is a stimulant that allows them to, basically, it improves their cognitive function, allows them to see patterns better, allows them to stay more focused longer, things like that. So you're taking this drug, and whether you're studying or not, whether you're fucking around, you're still changing your altered mental state. You're altering your mental state, filling it with information that you probably lost as soon as you stopped taking them, or as soon as the test was over. All you're really doing is basically the chemical is allowing you to jam as much shit in your brain as possible and remember it for a short period of time. Because tests have proven that none of these drugs, even a direct current stimulation, has a lasting effect. It's something that you always have to be doing.
Well, yeah, but that goes to what I was saying, is that that's why I said I might speak on terms. I don't know the effects of Adderall. Can you really say that it, in any way, the Adderall affects what they retain that they've learned after testing? I'm
pretty sure tests show that it increases mental capacity. Or
yeah, but then when you
space.
stop taking it, does your brain just delete that downloaded information, or?
Yeah, I think so.
But do you think so, or did you actually learn that somewhere?
Do you not know how the brain works?
Well, I know that I have used massive amounts of caffeine to stay up and study, and I didn't have any caffeine when I was testing, and I still retained that knowledge.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
It's a stimulant.
Are there any actual
it's
studies out
it's
there?
an interesting question to think about because it's been, it was posed on a couple of things that I looked into. There were multiple people that sort of said it's not anything that you would take away from that doctor, but it's sort of like, was that really? It's sort of, it's like I don't know, some dumb cartoons and TV shows and things like that. Somebody will have a lucky thing, and they'll have a good game, a lucky penny or a lucky thing. They'll have a good game, and then they always need to have that thing, and then they don't have it, and then they, the placebo effect, right? And then they think they have it, but really they had the skill anyways. Is that really what's happening? They have the knowledge, of the skill anyways, and the Adderall is just allowing them placebo effect.
Well, it's a placebo effect. I think the Adderall is helping them to focus and stay up and study more to get more. But of that
at the
knowledge.
Same time, wouldn't allow them to retain more information.
Well, I think I don't think the Adderall. I don't really know whether or not the Adderall has any real effect of what you retain. If it
improves your cognitive function, it does retain memory. That's how cognitive function is. Memory is enwrapped or entangled in that part of cognitive function.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it improves your cognitive function well on it. I don't know what effects it has negatively on your memory.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. All the studies have shown that there's diminished capability off of when you get off of anything.
Yeah, capability, but does that mean you lose the capability? You lose the capability to learn at the same rate.
Yes.
Do you lose what you have already learned?
If you didn't really, what I'm saying though is you're not really learning it. You're just jamming it into basically Adderall made the box in your head bigger. You're able to jam more shit in there, and then when you stop taking Adderall, the box got smaller again, and things got pushed out.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think it's more like when you stop taking Adderall, that box doesn't get smaller; it just doesn't grow anymore.
No, it just gets smaller. I mean, if you've really done anything, you know that when you stop doing it, for me, there are parts of my brain that have they're in my life that I don't remember. Because not that they're not still in my brain, they could still easily be in my brain, but that part has been blocked off to me, and so I have no recollection of that, right? So things like that can be happening, and I'm just saying that the question was posed that would you do you really trust a doctor that took a bunch of Adderall to study for their tests and then
well, I'll stop you at the beginning of that question.
Don't say you don't trust doctors. I know, but it's just a question, okay? Back to transcranial direct current stimulation and what they're doing now. So there's still, like I said, it's not a medical tool, so there's no FDA regulations. So in a lot of places, and you can go on eBay right now and just buy them. You can buy. There's hundreds of different varieties, and all they're doing, or not all they're doing, but what they're doing, what it's based off of, is basically just it's electrocuting your brain in certain areas. Like you actually have, it's a specific area that the pad or the electrode has to be on top of, and it will stimulate that specific cortex or that frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, this lobe, that lobe, fucking whatever, and you can stimulate that specific area. Excuse me. And where a lot of that is beneficial is the cognitive function, is the understanding patterns faster and memorizing things, and well, that's kind of sort of the same thing. But storage capability, how much information.
But you were saying that what they're doing now is it's really current. The effects are while you are currently hooked up to it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's yes and no. So, like I said,
the effects are just short lived.
Yeah, the effects are short lived. So
see, that does. I mean, what's the point then?
Because you're still improving your cognitive function. It's the same concept. Well, not exactly the same concept, but you know, like
all
lumosity
day with a helmet on.
No, but it's not like that. It's not like you have to consistently do it. It'd be like getting your back cracked, going to chiropractor. I know people that go once a day. I'm not saying that's really what you do, but in these studies, they would be using this while they're playing video games, and they would stop using it. It's allowing them, just like the Ritalin, to give them short-term, cognitive function improvement.
So the average person who's not a gamer could say, like, hook themselves up for an hour before they go to bed at night, kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. I mean that really could. but you're not actually training anything at that point. You're
So
sleeping.
that's what I'm saying. Is I'm trying to find like a real world application where this is even useful outside of gaming.
In anything. I mean, you could use this technically. You could use this while doing surgery, and it would make you better at surgery while you're doing surgery. Or you could use this while reading, and it would allow you to understand words better. Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna fucking be the point is that you don't want people to think that this is gonna make you smarter. There's a difference between cognitive function and intelligence. And there's a really good example of that. And really, I don't know exactly where it is. I saw it through the World Science Festival live lecture that I watched. So it was on their programming. But basically, they went to this lab with chimps. And the chimps were taking a test that had a screen. And it had random bubbles. And in those bubbles were numbers. And the numbers were 1 through 9. And they were in random order. And once you clicked on the number 1... all the other numbers disappeared, and you had to remember the pattern, right? So they had a normal guy, the producer of the show or whatever, who was like, you know, he had a degree in science, and he was obviously an intelligent guy, and he only completed the entire thing without messing up twice out of like 30 times, right? It took him forever, and he's a very intelligent person. The chimp, 99.9% accuracy, and you watch this chimp do it, and it's a different pattern every time. And he looks at it for about 4 seconds, and then goes, done. Looks at it in the next one, looks at the pattern, 1, 2, 3, done. So that's pattern recognition. That's been sort of, that chimp has understood what the process is, and has allowed him, due to the fact that he's been doing it over and over again, has allowed him to become faster at it. It's just like the concept of Tetris. The first time you ever played Tetris, sort of slow at it, but the more you play Tetris, the more you understand the patterns and which pieces go where and which ways they move. You can speed up and become faster and faster and faster, right? Or
that's true. I'm fairly bad at Tetris even after playing for a while, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So the cognitive these helmets or these headphone style stimulators, essentially you could put that on, and you, in say a 2 week or 2 month period of practicing using this, you'd be able to recognize those patterns faster. Now there is a diminished capability further on down the line. You're going to lose this capability, just like we talked about the Adderall. But that's where it's different than a drug, because you're not adding these chemicals to your body. You can just sort of put it on. Like right now, we could both be wearing them, and it would probably make us better at podcasting.
But where you draw those similarities to Adderall with that, the rest of that sentence has a lot of similarities to, say, the vitamin and weight loss pill industry that's unregulated, where we don't have proper testing to know what future down the road side effects might be. So yes, you might be, having those great positive effects now, and it's something you can just take off and say, oh, I lost that ability after a week of not using it, but what else exactly could you possibly be losing along with it?
Well, that's why I said earlier, there's no long-term long-term studies on what the negative aspects of it, but so far it seems that there aren't any lasting effects, but again, there's not a long-term study yet. At the same time, I'm just saying, if the science can get behind it, being the safety is really the issue for me. And if the science can get behind making it a little bit safer, I really don't see a problem in putting on electrodes. I mean, they do that for MRIs. They put electrodes onto your brain, and they pass small currents, and that's how they're able to map your brain. And so I don't really see I don't want to say I don't see the harm, but if the safety can get behind it, and that I can be assured that, I'm not going to die, or I'm not going to get my skin burned, because that's where a lot of people are having issues, is you look into the electrodes that people are using, they're DIYing this shit.
Well, yeah, you didn't even bring up that.
Yeah,
that's before people
DIY.
Are making these themselves.
Dude, I don't advise you to do any of these things, but you can definitely go onto Google and just type in TDCS DIY.
I don't advise you to do it, but if you're going to, this is how to do it.
Well, I'm just saying, looking at how these people are doing it really makes you not want to do it. So it's kind of a good idea. You're like, okay, you're putting a 9-volt battery in this EKG monitor, and you're putting it to your brain. Like, excuse me? But they're doing it. Like I said, it's the Wild West. And the proof is in the pudding, basically. And it has improved. It does improve cognitive function, but it doesn't improve IQ. And so that's where they're sort of working at. Is this something that could actually be medically helpful? Because there is some testing on soldiers, mainly the ones that are flying the drones, because that's improving their cognitive function. They're able to, spot the truck faster. They're you know what I mean? They're able to, if you're staring at a screen of this is what this truck looks like from the sky, and you are doing these tests all the time, and you're using this stimulator, then your brain is able to process that pattern or that shape or whatever they're looking at faster, making them better at their job.
Well, hey, yeah, if putting an EKG stuck to a drone pilot's head could maybe cut down on the rate of bombing vans full of kids driving around, all for it.
Who knows if those kids deserved it or not? Just kidding. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
Very
I'm just kidding.
Bold statement there.
No, come on, dude. No kids deserve to get bombed, or no kids deserve to die. They're kids. You, on the other hand, I wouldn't be that sad if a drone came and hit your work van with you in it. Damn, I shouldn't have said that either. That's mean.
That is very mean.
If he gets
and
blown
considering
up,
that we stay at the same house, that's probably taking you out with me.
Well, I meant like while you're driving.
And much like those kids, you would be collateral damage.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's a good movie.
It was alright. I could do without it or with it.
It's Arnold.
It is.
That makes it a good movie.
Excuse me. I've got a little tickle in my throat. So yeah, that's sort of... So...
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to try it.
I know it's. Especially when we talk about opening up your mind and stuff. It's the concept. I've taken ephedra before, and that is sort of a similar thing. It does allow you to focus more.
Couldn't tell by looking at you.
Well, that's because I need to get back on my diet.
I'm sorry. I had to just stick with the theme of calling you fat tonight.
I know. I appreciate it. I can see that thin hair on top of your head. It's looking.
That's what started it.
Looking real clear from over here.
Golden, you mean?
No, I meant going clear.
I didn't pick up what I was saying.
Dude.
Speaking of which, though, what have you noticed? For some reason, my facial hair grows in fucking clear.
Yeah, well, that's because you're L. Ron Hubbard.
It's like every fifth hair, not white, not gray. I found a few gray hairs around. Clear, not blonde, even just clear.
Scientology.
It helps with the whole Joe Dirt look, though, that I'm going through.
Dirte. I had an E on it.
Dirte.
Pronounce it Dirte. Sounds pretty cool.
Although, with this facial hair, I'm pretty close to rocking the Joe Dirt look.
You're pretty close to being as ugly as David Spade. So there you go.
That was rude.
I'm just calling it like I see it. Hey, did you know that science can be described as a branch of knowledge or study dealing with a body of facts or truths systematically arranged and showing the operation of general laws?
I did because
that's only the mathematical
Wikipedia
sciences.
Before.
Well, that's weird because I'm on dictionary.com.
Where do you think the guy that sat down and wrote Wikipedia or the page for science on Wikipedia got his information from?
I don't know. Is there a page for science? If there is, let us know.
There definitely is. Don't let us know.
Shout us out on Twitter at RealHighEDU and let us know if there is a Wikipedia page for science.
There's a Wikipedia page for everything.
I know. Except for a bunch of numbers.
We should make our own Wikipedia page.
I'm thinking about actually making a YouTube page or a channel.
You mean like how I said, hey, we should make a YouTube channel, and you're like, that's a terrible idea?
I didn't say it was a terrible idea. I said it's too much work, and I didn't say I was doing it. I said I was thinking about it. So, fuck you. All right. So we talked a little bit about TDCS, zapping your brain, allowing you to increase your cognitive function, much like they say Lumosity and those brain games things do. It's just you don't have to use the brain game sites. You can just put on this headset. But we don't know the long-term effects, so it's not the first thing I would advise doing. Do your research if you think it sounds cool. We're going to do a little research, and maybe we might do it someday, or maybe we won't because I like my brain the way it is.
So what I'm taking from this is that you're suggesting we should just go use Lumosity.
No, I don't believe in that, actually.
You don't believe in Lumosity?
No.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I do believe in it, but I also think it's just allowing you to recognize patterns, just like, this is sort of allowing you to recognize patterns, but it's increasing a lot of other things. Lumosity is the same thing, but it's only allowing you to increase your mental capacity for those things. It's sort of a trick that it it's a sort of a trick that it makes you smarter. It just sort of allows you to see the ducks.
If you really
faster.
want to get smarter,
speaking of
faster,
ducks, necrophiliac.
listen to our podcast. What?
Necrophiliac boy ducks. Shout out from episode 1.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah. Boy ducks like to fuck other dead boy ducks.
I honestly don't remember either episode 1 or 2.
Episode 1 was garbage.
Episode 2 was the
Bigfoot, right?
Was the Bigfoot.
Yeah. That was pretty
Bringing
exciting.
it back to that. When are we going to go find Bigfoot?
We're going to make a trip to Bluff Creek real soon. And you know why?
Yes.
Because Les Stroud retweeted us. So we definitely have to get it done this time. And it's going to be fun. We're going to go camping. And we're going to fucking find Bigfoot. And you guys are going to be like, you're not going to find Bigfoot. And then we're going to be like, we found Bigfoot. And then we'll be famous and we won't need you guys.
Hey, can we just take a second to appreciate how awesome it is that Les Stroud retweeted us?
That's right. And Robin Ince from the Infinite Monkey Cage.
Equally, if not more awesome. Don't want to offend Les Stroud.
Well, we definitely don't want to offend Les Stroud because that dude will kill us with a space blanket and a can opener.
I don't even
or at least he'll survive.
He doesn't even need the can opener.
Survivor, man.
He'll just outlive us.
That's right. We'll be fucked and he'll be doing his thing.
Especially after this giant earthquake that's supposed to hit us a couple days ago hits us.
Well,
it didn't.
At the same time that San Francisco and Los Angeles switch places. Because the fault lines will slip past each other. But
see, I was kind of hoping that the rest of Western California would just dip down under the water and I'd have some nice coastal property up here.
Beachfront property in Wyoming.
Well, we're not in Wyoming, so I really hope
Hey,
it doesn't
so I
go that
heard
far.
you're going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Hey, that's definitely not going to happen.
The best part about my week... Wait, shut up. The best part about my week is we were in San Jose, and Josh asked me a question about Hillary Clinton, and then I went off on how politics is bullshit, and you can't do anything because it's big business, and it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. And he was like, yeah, that was the answer I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, that's definitely not exactly how the
I was listening to this
conversation
really
went.
smart guy, and he said exactly what you said. And I was like, yeah, that's because I'm smart. For like the millionth time, you still don't believe I'm
See,
smart.
things are kind of making a lot of sense because I remember exactly how that conversation went. And if that's how you remember it going...
I generalized it. And that is exactly
by
how
generalize, you do mean just reworking the details in your head.
No, you just don't want to admit on the air what you admitted to me in person. It was that I was right.
What
and
I
you were
admitted
surprised
to
that I
you
was
in
right
air
'cause a
was
smart person said the
you
same
were
thing I did.
that you were a little bit right
When
about
Josh, okay.
what you were agreeing with me on.
Okay, when Josh says you're a little bit right on something, it means you're completely right, and his ego won't let him admit anything.
I also just want to point
little.
out that what you were right about was what I was saying, and you were agreeing with.
No, I wasn't agreeing.
I was just proud of you in the moment that
you'd be agreeing with
said
me because you didn't
the
say
right
anything.
way.
So technically, you'd be agreeing with what I said.
No, because that's what I say is that
that's fine.
This
You
whole
agree-
thing started had
you agree
nothing
with
to
what
do
I
with a
said.
question about Hillary Clinton.
I wouldn't vote for her,
But
and not
that's
because she's a woman, because she's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but the question that I asked you wasn't even
But I don't vote.
about Hillary Clinton. Yeah, the question was just who would you vote for?
No, you asked me Hillary Clinton.
No, you said Hillary Clinton.
No, you did.
You didn't say you would vote for Hillary Clinton. I talked about it, and you mentioned me voting for Hillary Clinton, and I was
No.
like, that's not going to happen.
No, that just happened in the podcast, but it didn't happen the first time.
That's very much
No, you asked
The same.
You asked me if I would vote for Hillary Clinton.
I did not.
And I said no, and I said not because she's a woman, but because
No, see, I
don't
think you're
agree with-
confusing another conversation where we were sitting outside, and I jokingly was like, "Yeah, you would probably vote for Hillary Clinton." And in making that statement, I was trying to call you stupid.
No, that's not what happened. But it's okay because you'll vote for Hillary Clinton, and I won't vote, and America will stay America. And
No matter who you vote for.
science.
Political science.
Yep. Hey, guess what?
Bringing it all the way around.
Guess what?
What?
The Raiders are trying
Suck.
to stay in Oakland, and I'm pretty fucking excited about it. I read an article today that said they got $500 million for the stadium. They just need to get another $400 million from the city or from outside parties or third parties or real estate. I guess there's a real estate development company who might throw in some money, but then the Raiders might actually have a brand new fucking stadium, and when they go to the playoffs in 2 years, it'll be gangster. I just want to throw that out there. Just want to throw that out there. So,
We get it. You like shitty football teams.
just one, and it's gonna be good again. Finally. Let's do a fucking quick recap, and then let's get the fuck out of here. How's that sound?
Sounds pretty good.
All right. So, if you want to find out more, follow us at RealHighEDU on Twitter. Check out our Facebook page, which doesn't exist. So, just kidding. Go to our website at educatedhigh.com. Please go to iTunes and write us a review, give us a rating, subscribe. And if you're in Germany or New Zealand or Canada or the UK or all those other places we got cool downloads from, hit us up on Twitter, you assholes, and let us know who you are, because that's really exciting for us.
And actually, speaking of this, because we didn't talk a whole lot about it, but the reason we know that we have those downloads is when we upgraded, like we said, how we have more data to, or more, what would you say, memory? More space to record on.
Yeah.
With that upgrade, we can also see where our downloads are coming from. And it is now my goal to, by the end...
Oh, don't set a goal.
Oh, by the end, I'm not going to say this episode. By the end of our next episode, so next week when we record that episode, I want at least one download in all of Russia.
I like how you said one download in all of Russia. Is that like 60% of the time? It works every time.
Yes.
Black Panther.
No, I'm just saying it could come from, middle of nowhere Siberia, or it could come from Moscow. Don't really care.
Hello.
I
do not like the podcast Higher Education.
I really hope they don't listen to this one. But just one download.
Hello.
I want one download in Russia.
My name is Vladimir.
And one download in Australia. So if you're out here listening and you know anybody in either of those countries...
I do not listen podcasts. Listen, in Soviet Russia, you do not listen podcasts. Podcasts listen you. No, we definitely would love to get more international downloads. It's really exciting for us.
And we really would love to hear from those people.
Yeah, if you have downloaded our podcast and you've listened to it and you like it a little bit to listen to the other episodes, which we really are hoping people stop downloading episode 1 and 2 because they're so bad.
If you do know someone in another country,
tell them to download episodes 3 through 6.
Yeah, just tell them to skip the first 2.
No, but seriously, we really do appreciate the people that have sort of shouted us out and shared us, because this means a lot to us, and we really appreciate all the response that we've gotten from people. And like I said, keep doing what you're doing, because we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and it ain't going to get any better unless you let us know.
And we're already in the hundreds of downloads now, which might seem like nothing.
It pretty much is
might
nothing,
seem like
but almost
nothing
300,
because it really is nothing in the grand scheme of other podcasts out there. But the fact that there's a few hundred people, or not even people, just a few hundred podcasts have been downloaded. So even if it's just 100 people out there, that's 100 people that have been listening to us just ramble about bullshit this whole time, and I find that hilarious and awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say end it with something nice so that they don't get upset and feel like you just made fun of them.
That's more than making fun of us.
Well, I wouldn't make fun of us. I'm intelligent. You're an idiot, and that's our show.
It's kind of making fun of us. I'm part of us.
Just to recap,
we are one.
We are Legion. No, we aren't Legion, but we are higher education. And this week we talked about transcranial direct current stimulation. I wrote a fucking beautiful song, and then I forgot it, so I just made up some shit while I was playing. We learned that stimulate your brain, and you can remember shit. We also learned that if you get spiders to fuck goats, you can get spider goat milk.
You can become bulletproof.
Boom. No, it really isn't how it works. But you listen to the episode, you know how it works.
Maybe one day it is.
And it would be awesome if it was. Bring it all back. I can't believe we're going to do this, but bring it all back. World Science Fest 2015. We are a disgrace to that great organization and everything we just talked about. But it was a really, really cool thing. And we're just basically doing it so that we can be trending. And hashtag World Science Fest 2015. And since you've already made it through all of this podcast, it won't matter that you just found out now that we did this whole episode just to be trendy. Just kidding.
Don't give it away.
Okay. We did it because we love science. No, the truth is we do actually love science, and we love learning, and we love doing our own thing. And what better way to talk about science than to have a reason? And World Science Fest 2015 gave us that reason. And maybe one of these years we'll go.
Yeah, and hopefully from now on we'll start recording a little bit earlier so that
stop complaining about that. Shut up, bitch.
I'm not complaining. I'm trying to let them know that hopefully the material, the quality of the podcast will get a little bit better in the future.
Every week
when
you
we're
say
not
it's
quite
gonna
as
get better.
tired.
Every week you say it's going to get better.
And every week you find a way to make me sit here until 2 a.m.
It's not going to get better.
Well, if you stop making me do it at 2 a.m.
My name is Josh.
My name is also Josh.
We've had fun. And not so much fun. And lots of long pauses.
And I'm going to go home and go to bed.
And I'm going to go home and
you
go to bed.
You are home.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm going to leave this room. And I'm going to go snuggle up. And forget about all of you people until tomorrow morning when I have to edit.
Which hopefully you can edit out quite a bit of this.
Nope. I'm keeping it all. It's the unedited version. Episode 6. Higher Education. World Science Fest Edition. Science, 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 science.
And some science.
So for Josh, and also Josh.
Can't even say my own name?
No. For Josh and...
Also Josh.
That's why you can't say it, because you're too slow. For Josh and...
Also Josh.
Too slow. For Josh and...
Also Josh.
We're out of here.
Peace. Dick.
So here's the thing. Josh forgot the most important rule tonight, and that's don't talk shit or call fat the guy who edits your podcast. Because now I'm going to play some shit he thought I would never play for you guys. And it's him by himself being recorded. And he sounds like an idiot. And I love it. And fuck you, Josh. Peace. Hey, do you want to take a fucking... You got to pee?
I don't, but are you asking me to go to the bathroom?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to pause it. Let's just take a fucking... Or actually, I'm not going to pause it. You can just stop.
Don't. I'm just going to take I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, but just make it a quick pee.
Okay, I'm going to take a 5-second pee break. Right back. But you don't have to talk about anything, or you can talk about it, or I'm just going to get up right now, though. This is awkward. I keep talking.
Walk away.
All right,
just
I'm going
to go. Walk away. It's even weirder when you make eye contact with me while you're doing that.
Hey, what can I do?
All right, so... Anyone listening to this, I just have to put out, I do apologize for the first 2 episodes. They were terrible. We were still trying to figure out what we were doing. You know, we were recording it on my cell phone with a $20 little plug-in microphone. We've got a nice setup now. We'll post some pictures, you know, try to get a little following going. The more input, the more listeners we get, the more input we can get from you guys on what you want to hear us talk about, you know. We're trying to do an educational podcast with, you know, with a little humor thrown in and just some interesting topics. And we're going to run out if we don't get any input from people. So if you're listening to this, please go follow us on Twitter at... well, shit, that's embarrassing. I actually don't even know what the other Josh set up our Twitter. You can follow me at Joshua_Perillo, Perillo. You should know how to spell Joshua, I hope. Follow me. You'll find all the connections. You can go to educatedhigh.com. If you're listening to this, you know, you probably already went there. That's where we're posting all this. I think our Twitter is at higher edu. I'm not positive. When Josh comes in, I'll ask him. He'll probably tell me how stupid I am for not knowing. But if you listen to this, you enjoy it, give us a shout out. The more followers we can get, the better. I'm gonna run out of shit to say while he's taking a piss. I'm gonna edit some of this out. Fuck. Sorry, I just got a text. How many times can I say Jesus Christ? Go follow us. Shout us out. I'm going to just take a break now because I'm running out of shit to say, and I'm trying to respond to a text, and I can't multitask on my own like this. So I'll take a break right now. We'll edit this part out, and then when Josh comes back in, we'll start back up again.